And we're live.
We are indeed live. Saints fans, welcome back to another edition of Saints TV Weekly. I hope you're all well on this Tuesday evening. Max, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing all right. Look, win's a win. We sort of seem to kind of tick them over. Unconvincing, but look, went to the game on Sunday. Um, I don't know. It was good to be back at the footy, I guess. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of fun to talk about other than that fourth quarter, I guess. How about yourself, Jordan?
Yeah, doing all right. I was fortunate enough to go to the Giants Suns game at Manuka Oval on Sunday and did my best to try and lure Harry Himmelberg and Ben King down to St Kilda from over the fence. Not sure if it actually worked or not. We'll see come this the trade period in the off season. But yeah, that was a good game, and yeah, St Kilda's was a bit different. Given we're up again the Sunday graveyard time slot, 4:40, and yeah, that was just an interesting game to watch, and yeah, I don't know, just feeling a little bit worse for wear after that game.
Yeah, I think I am too. Like I don't know. It was weird. It's at the game. Yeah, it was buzzing fourth quarter. They got a bit of atmosphere behind it, but Dad and I don't think left out of our seats for one bit. We were just a bit like sort of the hell's going on. I don't know. I don't think I've felt like a not to be too negative. I feel like Jordan, we got to sort of boost the spirits of all these Saints fans, but I don't know. Coming out of the game, it felt more like a loss than a win. I'm not sure about you, Sainers, how you guys sort of felt. Let us know in the comments how you felt after Sunday night's or Sunday Arvo's contest. But yeah, felt a little bit cheated, I guess, by some of the players' efforts.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that statement, Max. But we'll talk a little bit about we'll jump straight into it, I guess. Talk about Ross Lyon and the roof controversy. So for those who aren't aware, Max, did you want to just outline what Rossi said about the roof situation at Marvel?
Yeah. So I think Ross mentioned that the roof was left open on Saturday night. I think it was. It was definitely one of the nights, Friday night or Saturday night. I believe it was Saturday night. Got rained on, or the ground got rained on, and then they must have closed the roof Sunday morning. So yeah, the deck was pretty icy, pretty slippery going into it. But looking at it on the game, like yeah, there was a few players slipping over and this and that, but I think that doesn't excuse the ball movement. It doesn't excuse the amount of basic skill errors. Missed handballs, but you're not handballing off the ground, are you? So I don't see how the ball really affects that. Maybe it's a little bit slippery, but then catch it on your chest instead of on your fingertips. But I don't know. I thought it was maybe explains a little bit of like the slippages that some of the defenders had playing one on one against the Kangas forwards and vice versa. But yeah, I'm not sure that's quite a good excuse for the ball movement that's sort of happened over the last, I don't know, 4 weeks, maybe month of footy.
Yeah, you said like you were talking about the skill errors and whatever. And part of my French, it was just a shit against the Gold Coast where it was perfect conditions, sunny, had been sunny the 3 days before, hadn't rained, you know, at all, and yet it was poor up there. Why does it make any difference when we play at Marvel? So, maybe Ross is pulling a Kevin Sheedy and doing the deflecting type behaviour because at this point I'm not really wanting to fall for that, and clearly neither are you, Max. But Saners, let us know whether you believe Ross or whether he's just spouting stuff just to question it.
Yeah, James brought up a comment. Lives on Latrobe Street, apparently. Hopefully this isn't a bit of BS, but I take your word for it, James. Roof was still open at 11 a.m. and yes, it was pouring all morning. It felt like Sunday, but yeah. So I don't know. Even if it's a wet, well, first of all, why is the roof open at all on during the weekend when footy's being played there? But anyway, I think even if there's a wet deck, an AFL side should be able to you know be able to handle the ball a bit better than what was displayed on Sunday. Nonetheless, Jordan, let's try and fire up these Saints for next week and start talking about some of the positives because there were a couple of positives. Um, what was it? Sorry, coming out of Sunday. First of all, Steele stepped up, 33 disposals, 7 clearances, 6 inside 50s, and a goal. So I think his last couple of weeks of footy's really sort of seen him better himself each week, and he's hopefully getting back to that level that he was 2021 when he was a Brownlow favourite.
Yep. Also, Windhager's moved to halfback. I'm not sure if I'd call that a breakout game. I saw some in the media try and call it that, but maybe they just haven't been watching St Kilda because this guy's been really good for the past, since he's come in. Marcus Windhager, 30 disposals. Was he Saner of the round, Max? I'm not sure who was deemed Saner of the round. Probably him or Jack Steele, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe even Rowan Marshall. Like, I'm actually not sure. We might look it up, or if Saners, you could please comment that. Um, but yeah, I think Marcus Windhager. I do want to talk about the halfback position a little bit later on, Jordan. But move to halfback, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the move is or what the thought process behind that is. I'm guessing it's to rack up the ball a bit more, a bit similar to how Lion moved Nasai Wanganeen-Malira to halfback at the start of the season, and then I'm guessing what Rats did with Brad Hill to get him a little bit more of the ball. But look, if it means him getting 30 touches or close to more weeks than not, then yeah, why not? I don't see any problem with that.
Yep, and if it works, it works because I'm not sure the stats off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure the disposals were pretty effective. Certainly passed the eye test. So, like you said, if it works, it works. Another player that stepped up, Jack Sinclair, 29 disposals, 3 clearances in the fourth quarter and a goal. Just putting together a really consistent season. It seems that he'll be the only Sainer representing us in the All Australian side at the end of the year. I would be quite surprised if he wasn't selected in the AA team. Would you reckon that's a fair analysis, Max? That he's not only an All Australian, but the fact that he'll probably be the only one representing St Kilda in there.
Oh, I'm not sure. I've got a funny feeling that Cal Wilkie might. Look, I think Rowan Marshall, Jack Sinclair, Cal Wilkie will all be in the 40-man squad or the extended squad. I don't think maybe Mitch Owens as well will probably be in that 40-man squad. To make that 22, Sinclair's a lock off halfback, you'd think. I think probably the second closest would be Wilkie. I think Rowan Marshall's had an unbelievable year, but they really only pick one ruckman, and that will more likely than not be Tim English probably. Maybe a Jared Witts, but yeah, I don't know. I think Cal Wilkie's probably the only other one that stands a chance at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've seen like guys like Jack Payne from Brisbane putting together a really solid year. Like I agree that Sinks, maybe even Owens, but Marshall and Wilkie will definitely be in the 40-man squad. But I think Jack Sinclair will be the only one in the final 22. That's my opinion. But Sanus, let us know if you think someone like Rowan or Cal Wilkie will end up in the 22. We've talked a bit about the positives, I suppose, but we can probably go back a bit down to the negatives because there were, unfortunately, a lot of them. And one was our midfield strength.
Yeah, so we'll get into it just after we sort of finish up this quick review, Jordan. Midfield strength's been a real big problem, and I've got a funny feeling it's the dynamic or the type of players we're running through the midfield, as less opposed to the number of players that are running through our midfield instead of the types of players that are going through there. Because as we'll later on compare that some of those midfielders like Collingwood and Melbourne, they've got 4 or 5 midfielders that are there every week. They don't move, they don't really experiment unless there's injuries, and they get the job done every week. Whereas if you look at our sort of CBA attendances, which is centre bouncers, which players attend the centre bouncers, we've got players with 20% and 30%, and I don't know, we might have 8 players that run through the midfield during a game, which there's not a lot of continuity there. I think that's probably the biggest problem right now, and that can certainly be addressed before the end of the year, before we look at free agents and look at dropping players or whatnot. I think just getting a stable midfield of maybe 4 or 5 players that just run the entire game out, and then you get your supporting cast on the wings and the forward flanks and the back flanks.
Yep. Do you want to take a look at that now? Then might be a good time to segue into that, I guess.
Yes,
if I just share my screen here. These are the centre bounce attendances. I'm not sure if you can see, Saners, but the names aren't particularly that important. It's more about the numbers, and you've got you've got a couple of guys sort of in the 20s, and not really a couple of defined players. It sort of changes all throughout. But if we take a look at a team like Collingwood, for example,
Yeah,
that's a bit
as
more.
you can see, as you can see with Collingwood, you've got DeGoey, Cameron, Scott Pendlebury, Nick Dacos, and Taylor Adams. They get the bulk of the work done, and then I guess when Taylor Adams is off or resting in the forward line, Tom Mitchell will step up. But that's it. They've got 5 players, 5.5, I guess, that sort of step up and get the work done every week. And then the same
Yep.
thing with Geelong. They just got. Sorry, are we looking at Geelong right now?
Yep.
Same with Geelong. They've got Reece Stanley, who rucks, Mark Blitzarves, Tom Atkins, Patrick Dangerfield, and then, as of recently, Mitch Duncan, but that has been Tanner Bruin for the last few weeks. But outside of them, there's not much else running through the midfield. They just back their 5 players to get it done each week. So, Jordan, if you could please pull back up the St Kilda CBAs, I'd like to just sort of share my thoughts on what types of players we need running through that midfield. So I'm just pulling up on my screen as well. Rowan Marshall, 95% ruck time. I think that's a little bit high, don't you think, Jordan?
Yeah.
95% you're attending. There's not a lot of wiggle room to have a rest in there, don't you think?
Yeah, and we're a broken record at this point, Max. We keep saying bring in Tom Campbell, but it seems to be falling on deaf ears. So, clearly we need to bring in Tom Campbell and give him a little bit of a rest, because look at those numbers. I mean, the first game of the season, 100, the lowest I can see there is call it 70 against the Gold Coast in round 4. That's ridiculous. It's almost, an injury is going to happen sooner or later, and God forbid, that it does. But if you keep doing this with the sports science the way it is these days, I'm not sure why we're not giving him more of a rest. That's just, I don't think that would happen at any other club if you look at their ruckman. But yeah, I do agree with you there, Max.
Yep. So not to say that Ryan Marshall should start getting 50% CBAs. I definitely think he should be around that high 70s, low 80s mark. But someone like Jack Hayes, when he comes back, and hopefully he's ready this week, I feel like he can definitely take the burden off. Just take that 20% off of Ryan Marshall. And then the only other person I wanted to talk about, Jack Steele, Brad Crouch. Yes, they are our 2 strongest midfielders. I don't think Jade Gresham should be running through our midfield at all anymore. He seems to not do a whole lot in there. Jack Bytel was probably a bit stiff. He only got 23% CBAs. But I think that was because we played too many midfielders on the weekend. But Zach Jones got 59% CBAs, so the 3rd highest midfielder in our team, excluding Ryan Marshall. But only got 17 touches, so I don't think there's enough. The amount of time you're spending in the middle, that's not enough return, I think. So someone like Zach Jones might be at risk of getting dropped this week.
Yeah, but if you look at someone like Jade Gresham, if you look in this period here, Max, that's where we've really struggled. Lost to Hawthorn. Yes, we've got the bye, obviously. Can't lose there. Beat Sydney. Just. Lost to Richmond. Lost to Brisbane. And, that was, this period here, he's had high centre bounce attendances versus, earlier in the season, with the exception of these 2, who Fremantle were pretty shocking. Have been pretty shocking all year, and the Doggies were pretty shocking in round 2 in the early part of the season. So with those exceptions, the fact that he's attending more centre bounces, it just doesn't work. It's as simple as that, really.
I completely agree. I think the only one that gets exempt from this is Jack Sinclair, because he ran in the midfield in the 4th quarter. And maybe we'll have this debate with you, Jordan, and some of the fans. What do you think of Jack Sinclair as a permanent or full-time midfielder?
Not permanent. I just don't think that if you need good teams, good teams have good ball users everywhere on the ground, in the forward line, in the midfield, and in defence. And if you give up Jack Sinclair to go in the midfield permanently, then you lose that running speed and the silky ball movement off and the silky ball use off halfback. So that's it's a bit of a trade off, and that's something that I don't want. I'd rather go and get someone like Darcy Parish or Bailey Smith in free agency, and leave Jack Sinclair at halfback. But yeah, let us know. The comments been posted. Let us know, Sainers, should Jack Sinclair be a full-time mid?
Yeah, sorry, Jordan. I absolutely agree with you. Good teams have good ball users everywhere. I think it's great when you just plug and drop him in the midfield when goals are rolling. I think in the fourth quarter that was awesome. Got the two or three clearances, whatever it was. Just ran forward of the ball and got a lot of cheap, well, maybe not cheap, but got a lot of ball forward of play. But yeah, to put him full time in the midfield, I don't think he has that craft just yet. And I think he's so electric and dynamic off halfback that there's no one else better in the competition at the halfback role than he is.
And his body as well. I don't think his body is adjusted to playing full-time midfield. Like that's something you build up over time. And then now that he's 27, 28 years old, yes, he's put on a lot of muscle since he came in the league, but he's got more of a, pinch hitting through the middle type body, not consistently. That's how injuries happen. So I don't think he should spend full time in the midfield.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And I think that Sinclair also doesn't have quite the craft as maybe some of the other midfielders across the league. He tends to, as I said, run forward of the ball a lot, which is great when the goals are flowing like they were in the fourth quarter. We got 5 goals pretty much, I don't know, straight away it felt like. But yeah, the goals were flowing. There was a lot more time spent in St Kilda's forward half, but yeah, alternatively, if that's getting done to us, Jack Sinclair probably isn't the one to go in the midfield. So I absolutely agree with keeping him at halfback. And we'll go through some of your comments. Saders, Guy reckons yes, Sinclair as a permanent midfielder. Xavier says no. Chris, Sinclair should be a midfielder because we have Messiah, Hill, and Windy. Well, I guess Hill's more playing as a high half forward and a wingman, but yeah, definitely Naz might be able to step up.
And Hill's not playing at all at the moment, really.
Yes, exactly. Xavier reckons recruit quality mids. Agreed. Nick says keep Jack Sinclair in the midfield. Guy reckons no. Shaffer reckons 60% back, 40% mid. I think that's probably the most accurate, but I reckon that it shouldn't be a 60-40 or 75-25. It should just be if we are hot and running forward of the ball a lot, put Jack Sinclair in there to maximise that output. And when we're not, when the game slows down a bit or it's getting done to us, put him behind the ball. I think that should be sort of the unwritten rule with Jack Sinclair running through the midfield.
Yep, and this is a good point here. Surely not another Jack in the midfield.
Yeah, fair call.
Yeah, I think we got too many Jack Bytel, Jack Steele. Yeah, probably one too many, maybe too many Jacks at St Kilda. But yeah, we'll move on here and we'll talk. We'll go into a little bit about the media like we always do. What's been said about St Kilda in the media? This one, it's a quote from Matty Lloyd. They're 6th, but they're in free fall. Matthew Lloyd again acting as Captain Obvious here. I think it's pretty obvious that St Kilda probably don't reflect the 6th position. Probably the weakest team in 6th place, maybe ever. Racked up wins early in the season. That's not to say that they don't deserve to be there because, I've seen a lot of people in comment sections of Facebook and Instagram say, oh, St Kilda don't deserve to be in 6th and, whatever. And, the other teams around them are better. Well, if the other teams around them are better, they've had plenty of opportunities to displace St Kilda in the 8th and they just haven't taken them really. You can only play who's in front of you. I'm not sure. I saw someone the other day, Max, talk about Adelaide and their ball move and how they're more exciting to watch than St Kilda, and therefore, because they're more exciting to watch, they deserve to play finals. So that just goes to show that AFL fans are possibly the most stupid people to ever exist, because who cares about things like wins and losses and percentage, am I right? It's more about exciting football. Like seriously? Come on. The team does not deserve to play finals more because they're exciting. That's ridiculous.
Jordan goes bang, I guess. The lid's off for Jordan, but no, I agree. I was actually going to say something about Adelaide before you ranted about them a little bit, but it's funny you mentioned that because they are probably the best 13th side in AFL history. I think their percentage at 113 speaks. I don't know where I saw this. I think it was on Facebook somewhere, but uh, yeah, their percentage probably reflects how they're playing a bit more than their wins and losses. But as you said, Jordan, if they're not winning the games, they don't deserve to play finals, regardless of how well they play in their losses or how close they get to other teams. If you're not winning games, you don't deserve to play finals. And what we did so well in that first was 11 games of the season, we won, or 12 games, whatever it was.
Yeah,
So yeah,
percentage doesn't always. Sorry, Max. Percentage doesn't always reflect how good a team actually is because I think Collingwood last year finished in fourth with a percentage of like 105, 106, and maybe people questioned them at the time, but they certainly deserved. They were a kick away from playing in a grand final. Lost the qualifying final by 6, lost to Sydney by a point at the SCG, and by far and away the best team in the comp at the moment. So, whether Adelaide rise up the next year is a discussion point for an Adelaide fan channel, but percentage doesn't always reflect how good a team is. So, wins do matter.
Sorry, I've just seen this comment which I chuckled at. Lloyd used to throw grass in the air, and Eddie had to check the wind speed when the roof was closed.
Clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Sometimes it gets a bit swirly there at Etihad. The wind just circles around.
All right. Well, we do need to move on, so we'll take a look at something Fox Footy said. They do their power rankings weekly. So, what are the power rankings? So they try and rank every AFL team from best to worst. So it's more like a little bit of who's hot and who's not. Part predictive, part analysis of what's happened. I'll just give you a bit of time to read that on screen before I show you the next image that I have. And it's St Kilda. They had them ranked last week at 14. They clearly hate St Kilda. They've got no faith in them. Limped over the line. That's pretty fair, to be honest, against North Melbourne, keeping the season alive. But at this point, everyone knows their ladder position of 6th is fraudulent. That's not to say the wins don't count, but when you're beating the bottom 2, who've won 3 games combined this year by a combined 16 points, they don't count for much. If the season ended right now, the Saints would be hosting a final, and they head into the weekend barely favoured by bookmakers against a team that's 5-13 and year 1 of a rebuild. They're a real Barbenheimer. Good pop culture reference there, Fox Footy. They're on the ball there.
Not sure that that's entirely true about Hawthorn being in their first year of their rebuild. It feels like ever since they on their premierships, I guess, they've been in a rebuild. So year 1 of a rebuild, not sure about that one.
Yeah, and Hawthorn aren't, reflective of their 5-13 record. Like, they're definitely a lot better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's a clear gap between, everyone else in the comp. And the fact that they have us below Fremantle, who just got whacked by 6 goals against Sydney, is a bit unfair. I reckon it's a bit, mean. My feelings are hurt, clearly. But, that is what it is. And, we need to move on. And as we always do, we'll take a look at Squiggle. You guys know I love my stats.
Squiggle time with Jordan.
So if you have a look at the probabilistic ladder, they have St Kilda finishing in 8th with 12 wins, just squeaking in. But if you take a look at the ladder in depth, this is where the data is coming from. You'll see most of the databases actually have St Kilda finishing outside the top 8, mostly 9th, even as low as 11th. So not quite good signs. Maybe it's time to start looking at those holidays around September. Obviously, we want St Kilda to play there, and not only to play there, but to win a final. But yeah, keeping things realistic, it'll be quite tough from here, won't it, Max?
It will. But Jordan, we've gone back and forth ever since the bye, I guess, about whether Saints are going to play finals or not. you've been a little less optimistic as I've been, and you've sort of said that, well, we're probably not a finals team, and I've said, well, we've got the wins early where we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, completely objectively, we should win against Hawthorn. I say should because if we don't, then absolutely we don't deserve to play finals. I think that's a shoe-in. I think most Saints fans can agree with that. If we don't beat Hawthorn, there is no reason for us to play in September. But let's say we beat Hawthorn. That's 2 wins in a row. Maybe confidence gets a little bit up. Who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of a bit of kindling, gasoline, and a match is poured on that at St Kilda.
And maybe a pig flies over Marvel Stadium, Max. But, things do happen. We do, in order to make finals, we will need to beat, you would think, not only Hawthorn, but both Carlton and Richmond.
Yeah, but my argument's going to stem from, let's say, get 2 wins under our belt. We go into Carlton. Hopefully, Carlton gets smacked by Melbourne, I believe they're playing this week. Yep. They get brought back down to reality. They realise
they're playing Collingwood on Friday night, sorry.
And Collingwood, even better. Hopefully, they get shit on by Collingwood at the MCG in front of 90,000 fans. They realise that they're not as good as they think they are. And, none of the Carlton fans end up coming to Marvel Stadium in 2 weeks' time. And then, it's game on. We get, hopefully, Tim Membry or Jack Hayes or geez, if you told me I was relying on Zane Cordy to come back into the side in round 19, 20, I think you would have hit me as hard as you could. But anyway, we get some of our bigger players back. I think anything's possible after that because all we need is 1 or 2 more.
I think if a Collingwood fan or someone like Port Adelaide was watching this and they'd probably burst into tears of laughter knowing we're praying for goddamn Zane Cordy to come back. Look, if we take a look at Squiggle again, and if this is the who won the round, so it's analysis of the ripple effect of the round's results, it takes into consideration how other teams in similar ladder positions performed. They had us in 8. Now, 8 out of 18 is not bad, and you'll take a top 8 spot. But as you can see, they labelled it as a dishonourable expected win. Did gain ground against the Dons, the Suns, Crows and Geelong, but lost ground to GWS, Sydney and the Doggies. And look, they do have us with a 42% chance of making the 8. I'm going to say that's pretty fair, to be honest, Max.
Yeah,
based on current form, I'd say it's probably a little bit less. But like you said, we gain confidence from 2 wins. I think that AFL fans don't like to admit that chance plays is a factor in football games as much as they realise or care to admit. So we could get lucky. Like there is an element, I'd say probably 10 to 15% of any game is decided purely by chance. Whether that's kicking for goal or umpire decisions, but we take a look at Guy's comment here. I say we beat Hawthorn, but more importantly, I think we beat Geelong, and I believe we can then play finals. Beating Richmond or Carlton as well, we play finals yet. So if we beat Hawthorn, we need to find 2 out of 4 wins. So I think it's just safe to say we're not beating Brisbane at the Gabba. So it's got to come out of Carlton, Richmond, or Geelong at home.
Sorry, are you saying win Hawthorn, that gets us to 11 wins, and you're saying 13 to guarantee finals?
I think it needs to be. I think it'll be. I think Richmond or Carlton will finish with. I think they're our biggest competitive, and they'll finish with 12.5. So therefore, we need to get to 13, and even a draw won't help us because our percentage is pretty poor.
Yeah. All right. Just to make sure we're on the same wavelength there. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is a good comment as well. Zane Cordy is somehow the factor to our forward press. I agree. For whatever reason, when Zane Cordy, I instantly think of that comment. Sorry, when I see that comment, I instantly think of that tackle against the Doggies in the 4th quarter, and he sealed the game for us, kicking just inside the 50. Who knew I'd be so positive about Zane Cordy?
I love Zane Cordy. He's one of my favourite players, to be honest.
No, you know what? He is gone from probably why the hell are we playing him in round 1 to can we please get Zane Cordy back into our forward line? Not even in our back line, our forward line.
Yeah. Max, if I can pull up this comment quickly from Jamie. What about Heath?
Yep.
I'm a bit sick of seeing this comment. Max Heath, if you watch any, we'll talk about Sandringham in a minute, but if you watch any Sandringham game, he's not fit enough to run out a full VFL game. How the hell is he going to do it in an AFL game? His body is not ready. Please stop asking about Max Heath. Please stop saying he should be in the team. No, I'm actually quite over it because people just clearly don't watch Sandringham or don't even pay attention to Sandringham and then make statements like this saying, "Oh, Max Heath should play." He just shouldn't. You know what I mean? Don't you agree?
Sorry, Jamie. Jordan got a bit grumpy at you then.
Sorry, that was probably a little, Jamie. That was probably a little bit harsh, but his body isn't ready yet. I feel like we said it a couple of times in the show, but he's not got that full fitness to play a full game. He shares the ruck duties down at Sandringham with Tom Campbell, so his body's just not right. Give him another year or two before the only ruckman, and same with Isaac Keeler as well. But it's not so much about fitness for him; it's more about muscle.
Yeah, as Nathan just said, Keeler's probably got a better chance. I think I agree with that. Someone that I would love to see debut before the end of the year, Jordan, James Van Ness. Right, we've been asking for another key defender to support Dougal Howard. We're like, well, maybe we'll get one in the off season. But Dad and I were having a chat on the train. We're going, well, shit, we probably already have one. We maybe a year or two still away from being a 23, 24 game a year player, however many rounds there is now, from playing a full season. But I'd love to see just a sneak peek of James Van Ness, even if it's for one game and he, sort of shits the bed a little bit, whatever. I'd like to see him play just to support Dougal Howard. Maybe give Josh Battle a rest or someone in that back line that's maybe a little bit underperforming the last couple of weeks. But James Van Ness, I think he might be ready to go by season's end.
Yeah. Do you reckon we play him if we want to make finals? If we're absolutely no mathematical chance to make it when we go to Brisbane at the Gabba, do you reckon we give him, and someone like him a run? Give him good AFL experience?
Oh, absolutely. I think if we mathematically, hopefully we don't get mathematically eliminated from finals, but if we do, Ollie Houghton should play. Well, as we'll touch on in a second, we do our little VFL recap. He had 28 touches on the weekend. Give him a run. Put Jack Paris back in, Van Ness. I think you just give everyone a game at the end of the season, just to sort of see where they're at against a really, really good side. And maybe it sort of gives them a bit of a kick up the arse if they think, I've been absolutely flying at VFL level. What do I need to do to cement myself in the AFL side? Let's say they go up against, James Van Ness goes up against Joe Danaher or not Harris Andrews. What's the other guy called? Eric Hipwood, sorry. Yeah. And goes, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the level I need to be at. That's what I'm going to work towards for my preseason.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of once we're eliminated from finals contention playing the kids. And I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but Jamie, I'm taller than Bradley Hill, but I get tired walking up a single flight of stairs. Just because he's taller than someone doesn't mean he should be. He is absolutely gassed at Sandringham. A much lower level. There's a big disparity between the AFL and the VFL. He is gassed at VFL level after 10 minutes of being in the ruck. Jamie, my homework, I want you to do this, right? I'm giving you homework, Jamie. Watch Sandringham on the weekend. Please watch Sandy on the weekend. Just tell me what you see, and next week report to me and say whether Max Heath can run out a full game of Australian rules football. All right, let's move on.
Jordan's lost it tonight.
Max, I'm not a fan of people who don't think. That was a bit harsh. It's been a long day. Let's move on. Let's go.
I want to pull up this comment from Chris. I wasn't personally there at the VFL on the weekend, but my dad was. He said, Caulfield got his 28 touches. I think it was 9 marks or so, something like that. But apparently the disposal efficiency would have been very, very low. Just needs to find his footing. I guess Caulfield. He hasn't played for 2 years, so Yeah, he's got the 28 touches and a few nice marks off a halfback, but I think that decision making is the biggest thing for Nick Coffield, and that's something that I always was really frustrated about because he could, yeah, absolutely take a great mark across halfback. There's no one's denying that, but his decision making, even when he was in the AFL side in 2020, was very poor. So I think that's what he needs to get: bit of continuity, get his legs back from under him. He's coming off an ACL tear and what is it, a hamstring or something like that? Like, yeah, he just needs time to develop through the VFL, bring him back up. Maybe next year we might see him, maybe we won't, but just need him back to sort of his best after playing a bit.
Yeah. Do we want to talk a little bit about the VFL, Maxi?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've already called out most of the stats, but just to announce to everyone that hasn't been able to keep up to date with Sandy, Collingwood have beaten us 9 goals, 10-64 to Sandy, 6-12-48. Holly Otten. Ollie Houghton started, Ollie Houghton started 28 disposals, 4 tackles, leading ball getter for Sandy. Just I think he played predominantly as a midfielder. Looked really good. Looked really explosive out of the guts. Nick Coffield, 28 disposals, 8 marks. And as I said, disposal efficiency would have been pretty low, but at least he's getting the ball in his hands. He's taking intercept marks across halfback. And then someone who I think needs to be brought back into the side this week is Tom Highmore, 22 disposals, 10 marks. And again, quoting my dad, he's a general down back for Sandy. He's the loudest on the ground by far. He's the only one sort of in that back line and maybe even midfield that has a voice that not only just that says where players need to go and helps them out and is a bit of a leader, but apparently it's a bit of a booming voice. You could hear it across the ground. So I reckon Tom Highmore should be getting a game this week. Clearly, we were too small against North Melbourne, and I don't want that same mistake to be made against Hawthorn.
Yep. No, fair enough. But do you think he's the same kind of player? Who do you bring in for Tom Highmore then? Oh, sorry, who do you take out for Tom Highmore then? Because is he not? People want to compare him to Dougal Howard, but he's a different body type.
No,
Howard,
completely.
yeah. So then, who do you take out for Tommy Highmore then? Because then, without Dougal Howard, as much as people give him shit, without that big bodied, tall defender, you're pretty screwed.
No, exactly. Yeah. To me, Tom Highmore's an intercept defender, very similar to a Jake Lever, who doesn't really pick up a player but floats across as a bit of a roamer. Might take a medium-sized forward. But I guess my sort of ins and outs, I said if we play Tom Campbell, which I think we should, Jade Gresham or Dan Butler would come out of the side. I think one of them who need to have a rest. They've had a pretty poor 3 weeks of football. If we want to keep up that selection integrity, then that's probably one of the 2 that you'd pull the pin on. I said Zach Jones needs to come out of the side. As we said before, Jordan, he had, 59, 60% CBAs, but only got 17 touches. That's where I said Zane Cordy comes back in as a tall, and then you give Jack Vitale those mid-minutes that Zach Jones was getting, or maybe just another midfielder, Hunter Clark or whoever it is. Because I don't think Zach Jones is getting it done at nearly the level he should be. And then if Jack Hayes is ready, he's probably the one you bring back in, or Tom Highmore for Brad Hill. And then you move Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira to the wing, or you put Marcus Windhager to the wing, or you just sort of shuffle the magnets around. So you've got Dougal Howard, Tom Highmore, Josh Battle, and Cal Wilkie in that back line.
Yep. We'll just go through a couple of comments. Chris reckons we take out, I think this was in response to Webster for Highmore. I'm going to disagree with you there. Webster's done a terrific job in terms of locking down the opponent's key small defender, like with Cozzy Pickett, did a great job on Charlie Cameron a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if any of the North Melbourne smalls got a massive run on Sunday, but if they didn't, that's just another dub for Jimmy Webster. So I agree with Nathan here. Webster has too much running experience. I reckon keep him in. Highmore for Gresham. Wayne, if the thing with Gresham is that I think it's purely a almost a political game now, in that you want to increase his currency. He's not. We're not going to get. He's not going to get a big. He's going to get 100K a year for maybe not 800, 650, 700K a year from Carlton or Richmond or whoever's interested in him. If he can't break into St Kilda's dodgy forward line at the moment. And therefore we're not going to get a high compensation pick for him. So I honestly, I believe that's the only reason we're playing Jade at the moment. Wouldn't you agree, Max?
Yeah, and Josh agrees with you too, Jordan. You can't take Gresh out the side. Jesse disagrees with me. He says, she. Jesse. Jesse agrees with me, saying Butler's pressure when he runs down back is unbelievable. This is, look, we're probably getting too negative tonight, Jordan, but pressure's one thing, but if you also need to get the ball a bit. Like he had 8 touches this week or something like that, and he had 13 the week before. Didn't kick a goal in either game, I don't believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I think that the forward line needs to just be mixed up a little bit with the smalls. We saw how electric McCheat Islands is as sort of a primary tool. Even Caminiti got his hand to a fair bit of the ball in the forward 50, and Cooper Sharman, as of late in the fourth quarter, got his hands to it. But I think that forward line needs to really, sort of plug and play, see where the magnets are, because let's say more likely than not at this stage, as all the sort of, I guess, stats are telling us, less likely that we're going to play finals than is. I'm still under the belief that we can play finals, but I don't know. We need to sort of see who can play where and get our bearings, not only for the rest of this season, for September footy, hopefully, and then see where we get with next year's lineup, I guess, because I guess a lot of it's also seeing what we can do next year, as well as just to close out the end of this year.
Yeah, it's a good point, Max. I was about to say the exploration year. I feel like Ross has a license to move the magnets around, check out whether Butler's good or not, because if we want to make finals, you don't take out the guys that are performing well. Like, we do want to make finals, but don't take out, you don't mess around with someone like Jack Sinclair or Jack Steele, who's now found some form. But it's perfectly okay to then experiment on guys who aren't performing, because you're not being affected anyway. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I absolutely agree, and I will apologise to Jesse. Hey, sorry. It's just hard.
I think it was a he, given there was no I. It's not an IE. I think it's just
is that the giveaway? My apologies.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse.
I just want to pull up a comment real quick if I can find it, which I don't know if I can. Does Brad Hill play this week? And we'll go through that now, Dale. I think no. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Pulling up this graphic. He injured a lung, and Ross Lyon said afterwards that he was coughing up blood. So we wish all the best for Brad and his recovery, and hope he recovers well. But injuries like that, like as soon as I heard he's coughing up blood, like he's not coming back this week. I'd be extremely surprised.
Sorry, Jordan. Just on the Brad Hill saga. Ross Lyon made some really, really great comments about Brad Hill as well in the presser. That is something that we didn't touch on earlier on in the show, because we do love to listen to Ross's pressers. But he said that members should be really, really proud of the way Brad Hill's sort of conducted himself this year, and how he's been playing as of recently, and especially in that first sort of 5 to 10 minutes or however long until he got injured against the Kangaroos. Sorry. I think he's been very good this year, and by far he's sort of maybe sort of kick up the arse, or maybe it's a bit more of like a fire under his belly. He's back to sort of where the level he was playing at Freo. Maybe not as good because he's a little bit older, but he's definitely taken a step further. This is probably his best year as a Sainter, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I like that you corrected yourself in saying that he's not back to his Freo form, but he's improved dramatically this year. And yeah, I've personally, you and I both know off the show, I've had my criticisms of Brad Hill, but they've been not many this year, if barely any, because I think he's improved his game well, and he's been a solid and important player for us this season. Final final wrap up, I guess. Max, do you want to hit us with a score prediction?
Yeah, all right. Oh, sorry, hold on. I really like. Well, sorry, I just sort of read that and it sounded right in my head. I really like how well spoken Brad Crouch is. Gives me hope that the boys give a shit. Oh, this is in reference to Jake and Marshy's interview with Brad Crouch, I believe. So we forgot to plug that at the start of the show, actually. Boys got to interview or go down to the rooms to the inner sanctum. Got to interview Rowan Marshall, Mahogany Wood, and Brad Crouch. And yeah, they're all on the channel now. Don't need Saints Plus for that. Yeah, go give those a watch after we're done, sort of in the next 5 to 10 minutes, Sainers. But yes, send in your score predictions. Jordan, I reckon it's going to be a pretty low contest. I won't take your answer, which I've just seen now, which is good. But I don't think either team will score more than 75 points. I reckon maybe Hawthorn 60 and St Kilda 69. I reckon we don't get over 70 points this game, but another close one and another one that maybe gets the heart rates up a little bit for Saints fans.
Yep, I'm going to say St Kilda win by 2 goals. St Kilda 67, Hawthorn 55. Big Mark Shanley reckons a 52-point Sainers win. Dale reckons a draw. Guy reckons St Kilda by 127 points. Wowee. Jesse reckons Saints normally have one big win a year. You're right, Jesse, but unfortunately we've already had that 40-point win against the Doggies in round 2. So I'd be quite surprised if it was anything more than 40. Quite surprised if it was anything more than like 4 goals this week, to be honest. But I'm more than happy to be wrong. If we want to thrash Hawthorn by, guys, 127 points or even more, I'm taking that. Like, I know I've been very pessimistic tonight, and Max sort of pessimistic, but fuck, I just want St Kilda to win. Like, I really just want... Like, you can tell, Sainers, I'm not my usual self because I'm so tired of this team. And I really want to remain positive, but it's so difficult. I just want St Kilda to win. I'm sure all of you feel like me that if they lose, it ruins your weekend, and this feels like a loss, so it kind of ruins your week, and you're feeling a little bit down. But I just want the best for the Sainers. Like I just fucking love this club, like so much. So yeah, I don't know what's happened in the last couple of weeks, but hopefully we can turn it around and smack Hawthorn by 500 million points. Moving on, Chris reckons St Kilda win by 17 points. Jamie reckons Hawks could win. That also could happen. Hopefully it doesn't, though. Saints by 7 points. Dave, 34 points. Try doing it for 4 decades or more. Francis, I feel like I've aged 4 decades in 2 days since that game.
Sorry, Jordan. Mark's just said you're bloody excited tonight. So
you know what? Fair enough, Mark. I'll cop that one. Josh says, please not another roller coaster game. Yes, please. I would. Max, did you see the post by the sad Sainer after the game? It was like,
I haven't. No.
It was something like it was just a video of, I think it was Ryan Gosling, screaming and swearing like for the first 3 quarters of the game, and then the last quarter, it's like, oh, good, we won. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I feel like that was most Saints fans. That was definitely me. So hopefully it's not another thing like that. Saints win by 1 point scored after the siren. Oh, I'm not sure my heart could take this, Ashley, to be honest.
That would be a fun. I like Dale's comment, though. I don't really care. Well, as long as we win, don't care how much we win by. I just don't want to see this defensive game anymore. Let's unleash the forward line. Let's see. Machida Owens kick 5 goals. He's probably one of my players to break out, Jordan. But I'm not going to say a player to break out or a player to have a big game. Sainers, let us know your player to have a big game this weekend. I'm just going to say offensively, we need to have a cracker. I want to see more forwards than not kick a goal, and I want to see multiple players kick multiple goals. I just want to get over this 60-point hurdle, 70-point hurdle that we've been stuck in since round 4. It feels like, but probably not. Let's kick 90 plus points and then hopefully get a win, because you kick 90 points in a game, more times than not you'll win it.
Yep. Jesse has taken my player that I was just about to say have a big game. Our burrito didn't play the Hawks last time. It's worth a few extra snags. Completely agree, Jesse. I was hoping that someone wouldn't bring this up so that I could look super smart and do it. But, that's all right. You're on the ball. Appreciate that. Yes, Mitch Owens didn't play last time. He had that brutal concussion. Who did we play the week before? Hawthorn.
Collingwood? No. Adelaide? No.
No, we won.
Adelaide?
Or,
no.
I think it was North.
No, it was...
I'm pretty sure it was North Melbourne.
Oh, no, it had to be an away game because we were at the Bentley Social watching that one.
It would have been round 10. Oh, no, GWS.
GWS, that's what it was.
Yeah. So it was out with concussion there. And his best mate, Marcus, had his breakout game with 30 disposals on Sunday. So he should back that performance up with another one of his own. And, yeah, we just need to find goals from somewhere. So, Mitch Owens, please answer our prayers and have a big game on Sunday. But, yeah, who do we reckon will play a big game? Francis reckons Caminiti. Not related, but Dave said, if we play like last week, I'm going to send the club my medical bills. I'm right with you, Dave. Dale has just said Collingwood. No, we played Collingwood in round 5, so it wasn't them. Nathan wants to see Wood kick 3. Chris, I want the whole team to have a cracker. Fair enough. Another Woody comment, kick a bag. Dale, Windy, 4 goals off halfback. That'd be quite the game. I'd like to see Cardman 22. He would be funny leading the charge.
Not sure what that's in response to, but
later
have a big important. Jamie reckons Brad Crouch. Paul reckons Hayes to come in, kick 4. Mate, if Jack Hayes came back in and had that game like he did against Collingwood in round 1 last year, I reckon I'll lose it. That's something my heart wouldn't be able to take. It'd be so energetic and so happy. I don't know if you pulled this one up before, Jordan, but Dave reckons Tim Membry to come back, kick 5. Now, Jordan, like Nathan, I'm a very simple man. I've done a 3-point analysis that Ross Lyon should follow to a T. Nathan has got the first point. Don't bomb it to Sicily. Point number 2, if I can find where I'm at. Their midfield is dangerous. Connor Nash, Jai Newcomb, Warple, Day, Ward, McDonald. Don't let them get the ball. That's a simple plan, right? And Jordan, another one. Stop Mitch Lewis and stop Luke Bruce. And guess what? You know what that formula adds up to, Jordan?
A win?
Finals bound. It adds up to a win. That's exactly what it does. All right. So, Sainers, if we can follow my, extremely expert opinion and advice that we don't give the ball to Sicily, we don't let their midfielders get first use of it, and we don't let Mitch Lewis, Luke Bruce get comfortable, we should win the game.
Yep. Max, I think we should start a change.org petition for you to be St Kilda coach because that was bloody brilliant. But unfortunately, I'm not sure that the boys will actually listen to you. And if I was a gambling man, I would put a lot of money on Sicily having 30-plus disposals and 10-plus marks on the weekend. But hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Like this. Sorry. Dave reckons big game for Owens, seal the rising star. Absolutely. Croft, unfortunately, and sickening, has gone down with an ACL tear. So it's really now just Owens and Harry Sheasel who play against us on the weekends. I don't think Jai Miss is in the contention. You can't be a key forward in a losing side as poorly as Fremantle and win rising star. But yeah, it's now Owens and Sheasel, and Owens being a front half player, kicking goals, hopefully plays finals, then that should lock him in as the rising star. And Mark has just said, excellent work, Max. Yeah. So thank you, Mark. It's nice to know that I feel supported when I come to the Saints and we get on this live stream on Tuesday nights.
Yep. I'm still waiting for my excellent work, Jordan comment from Mark. But you know what? That's okay. We move on. I might be waiting a while then.
Sainers give Jordan some love. He's gone through all. You know the movie Inside Out, Jordan?
Yeah. Do you ever wonder what is going on inside my head? I'll tell you, it's pain because St Kilda is bringing me pain, Max.
I'd love to see the what is the five emotions in Jordan's head just working overdrive tonight. That would be
It's just pain. No, to be honest, Sanus, I'm a little bit exhausted. I've been coaching slash playing mixed netball all day today and lost 5 straight games. So yeah, just feeling a little bit knackered and a little bit disappointed that we didn't get the win. Finished 11th in an 11-team competition in netball. Yeah, so never like to do that. Put on my best St Kilda impersonation in playing netball. Yeah, and obviously St Kilda playing like St Kilda's constant St Kilda ring doesn't exactly help. Thanks, Jamie, and hope we're still all right.
good to
Yeah,
see
look,
he's come around after you had a bit of a burst at him earlier on in the show.
yeah. Well, I think the burst was a bit unfair, but the point about Max Tate is still valid though. Yeah, I guess we might just wrap it up there.
Yeah, no, to completely agree. So just a little bit. Well, actually, we ran to about our normal time usually,
Yeah, we
Jordan.
ran on time.
Ran
Yeah.
on time, so that's good for us. Sorry, Sanders, if it wasn't as positive as it was in previous weeks. It is a little bit harder to be a bit more positive when the club's not doing as great as I guess we all sort of hoped it would. But yeah, look, we're still in the 8. We've been in the 8 all year. Got a winnable game against Hawthorn, and then hopefully spirits are high. We go into Carlton, and yeah, we just absolutely give them everything. Hopefully, we solidify our spot in finals. Before the Geelong game. But anyway, that's enough from us tonight. We'll wrap it up there. Just a reminder, check out the podcast, Jake's Saints TV Weekly, and also the 3 interviews with Mahogany Wood, Rowan Marshall, and Bradley Crouch.
Yep. As always, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night and have a great week.
Go the Sainers.
See you guys next time.